I'm Kate. Let's Talk Theater. Today we are discussing the loss of Death Becomes Her on Broadway, as they have announced. They will be closing on June 28th. At the time of the announcement on May 18th, that gives us about 5-6-ish weeks to work with to get in one final time. Death Becomes Her opened on November 21st, 2024. So they had a good run. They had a decent run on Broadway. Over a year, I think, is sometimes all we can ask for. So a little over a year and a half is definitely a good thing. It's definitely a success. And keep in mind that they will be touring. So we already know that they're touring, and they are touring starting in September in Ohio and Cleveland. And they have an itinerary out at this time. If you want to check that out to soothe after this announcement. I'm definitely disappointed. I was hoping for a little bit more from the show. I saw Death Becomes Her twice. I actually was just thinking about trying to see it again, which now there's a fire under me to see it again. It felt like, okay, it's coming up on a year since I last saw it, so I definitely wanted to get in there. I had not yet seen Betsy Wolfe, so I wanted to get in there and see her. Hopefully I can make that happen. But yeah, always disappointing. Always disappointing when a show closes for the fans, for the audience that didn't get to see it, that wanted to see it again, that wanted to keep seeing it over and over. Of course, disappointing for the people who are ultimately losing their jobs. The show, again, will live on through the tour. So at least as an audience, we can continue to find ways, hopefully, to love the show. But yeah, always disappointing. I think it's a show that maybe tapped out on audience. I always wonder with any movie adaptation, and I think this was a really great movie adaptation that really captured the soul of the movie while embellishing on it and giving us a little more meat and a little more fun and music, and it's big and it's grand and it's camp, but in the right ways, and it just really captured, I think, what the movie did. And so fans of the movie could go, but it didn't feel like you had to be a fan of the movie, and it found that good balance, which is hard to do. There are a lot of movie adaptations out there, and they can't all pull it off, especially when it is one as iconic as Death Becomes Her, but also kind of a cult classic, not something that everyone knows about. It's not Back to the Future, it's not Beetlejuice, it's not something that, you're going to walk down the road and find 10 people who are familiar with the content. And I do think those movie adaptations tend to do better because there's less pressure on it. I don't know. But I do wonder with those kinds of adaptations then, yeah, maybe they do better for the fans, but is there a cap to who is looking to go see Death Becomes Her, the musical? Can they only run so long because there's sort of just X amount of people who are willing to view that kind of content? I don't know. I do wonder as well what other casting we would have seen. I would love to know your thoughts on this. What kinds of other casting would we have really seen? Because this is not an easy score. And so to think, could they have stunt casted to get butts in seats? I don't really think they could have stunt casted. To find someone who is famous enough to get butts in seats, which I absolutely think they did with the cast that they have now, but also can sing that really difficult powerhouse score. I really think that there are only so many people that fit both boxes. Even when you look at the casting, they're very much Broadway famous. The Broadway girlies know Betsy Wolfe. She is a name in Broadway, but she's not pulling outsiders in. And that is the point of stunt casting, is to get the person who maybe never would have gone to a Broadway show or very rarely goes to a Broadway show in that seat. And I really don't know how they could have found other people. I do think there just are so many people that are going to be what they're looking for. But it is disappointing because I would have loved to see who else would they have been able to get? Who else would they have been looking for? Other pairings and such, because getting to see the different understudies play together, it's definitely for a show that really is primarily about this duo, getting to play with different mixes and matches of the duo was definitely a very interesting thing. Excited to hear more about the tour, see what that looks like, and see what the special effects look like on tour. And maybe not as much the special effects, but the physical set is huge and grand. How will they do that? We know they already have some projections for some special effects, so we know that they could maybe just bring those along, maybe add to that. I don't know. But yeah, definitely a loss, but a loss I think we started to kind of see coming. Surprised they're not trying to make it through the end of summer, but knowing that the tour starts in September, I do wonder if some of the timing has to do with that. Yeah, trying to kind of enjoy it in its final weeks. Again, I would love to go again. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Did you see Death Becomes Her? Are you hoping to squeeze in a trip before June 28th? It's definitely disappointing. It's exciting when you get a new show and it lasts and you like it. I think about some of the more recent shows that have lasted, like, say, The Outsiders. Hell's Kitchen lasted quite a bit, but they weren't my thing. So it didn't have rewatchability for me. Whereas The Notebook, Suffs shows that I did love and did rewatch did not last a year, or did not last a year. So it was exciting for Death Becomes Her to be around, be a show that I really enjoyed, was hoping to see again, and wanted to see those different casts and mix-ups and matchups. And so definitely disappointing, definitely heart going out to all the people involved. We do get a little bit more of a notice than sometimes historically these last couple years we've gotten. Some shows are closing in 2 weeks, so the fact that we are getting about 6 weeks is meaningful, does give people a chance to get in there if they at least reasonably live within the city or can reasonably get there. But yeah, definitely something we kind of saw coming. I think the more tickets that you're starting to see easily available, and like sales and TDF and the lottery and these things that are all good things, like, we want shows to end up having sales and availability and TDF, discounted tickets, but that does mean that potentially every show does it a little bit differently, but it does sometimes mean they're not really selling what they want to be selling, and that capacity is definitely meaningful. Let's look at that. Where is that? If you ever want to know what's going on, you got to check out Playbill's website. They will show you capacity, grosses, the whole thing. Ooh. What happened May 3rd? Their capacity was horrible. Yeah, their capacity was really dipping. Honestly, since really the beginning of the year, it started to dip into the 80s, into the 70% full. I mean, when you start to see that number, I think it's a miracle that we even are getting it into June based off some of these numbers. When a show runs a little bit longer, they can maybe weather some of those dips and hope they can pick it back up. But obviously that is not where Death Becomes Her ended up. And May 3rd, what was May 3rd? I wonder if they had some absences or something. The week ending in May 3rd, they only had 56% capacity. And it did go back up the following week to 70, but 70 is still not enough. I mean, shows ideally need to be 90% plus, really at full capacity to make it, because everything is so expensive. Shows are expensive to run at the end of the day. Which that's a conversation for another day. But they are expensive to run. They need to be selling every single ticket in the house. And so to see that they really were dipping into pretty low numbers, it looks like kind of since Megan Hilty left, honestly. Because those numbers really started to dip in January and just not really build back up. It looks like first couple weeks of February, you see decent numbers. Maybe those are the Betsy Wolf fans. but we really have dipped down. And again, it's hard. It's hard to find that perfect balance of people who want to see the show, people who want to see the show because of the movie, because they love the theater, because they love the show, because they love the soundtrack, the cast. Like, the cast does matter. The cast does pull. And, you know, maybe that cast change. Again, I mean, Megan Hilty is a huge name, not just in Broadway, but she had that smash cred. She'd done television. It helps. It really does help. And so, definitely disappointing. It's a loss. We will miss Death Becomes Her. We are excited for the tour. Let me know your thoughts. Had you seen it? Will you see it? Will it be touring near you? Where are you at? When are you going to get to see this tour that starts this year? I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for spending some time with me to mourn today. This is a very, I saw the news, I hopped in front of my camera because this is a big deal for me. This is a show closing announcement that's hitting home for me as a show that I love, and it's been a hot minute since that's happened because a lot of the shows I loved closed really fast. So it happens. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Thank you for watching. If you could like and share and subscribe and do those YouTube things for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you guys again at another time to talk more theater. Bye!